Hey guys, it's time for the Volley. No live game today, unfortunately, which means we get a chance to all be together for the first time since October.
I mean, why is that affected by there being no live game though?
I'm just saying it's a coincidence, that's all. It's
Very interesting occasion.
It's a pure coincidence, of course. But of course, that's a good time to crack on with a volley. How about that, guys? Yeah.
Nah, we'll see you in a bit.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Indeed, this is the Volley here on Radio Tekkers. I am the magnificent Matt Willis, and I'm joined as ever by his lordship of himself, Podfather. How are you, sir?
Kablam. Yeah, I'm doing good. Indeed. I bet you've missed that, Tanner, haven't you? I bet you've missed the kablam.
I did. Yeah, I did.
And I must admit, Tanner, it is very good to see you, buddy. I hope the move went all right.
Yes, yeah, we're good. We're set up here in my new office.
You got a whole studio going on there.
Yeah, I got a whole lot of room here on the other side of the house, away from everyone else. So yes, it's fun.
This is wonderful. I'm not sure who's got the better office now, you or Mags.
Oh, it's definitely Mags. Look at all those belts over there.
As he said, they're Carlos's, not his.
Oh. They're not the UFC ones.
Then I think that.
Yeah, I've only seen the UFC one in fairness.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get those ones fair enough. Yes,
I'll do the show like that. I don't know.
Well, isn't the New Japan one yours as well?
That is mine. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, the UFC with the Carlos's, everything else is Mags. I believe is the right term.
Yeah, actually, I got him for Christmas as well. A signed poster from Conor and Habib from their match, and that's his new favorite thing in the history of the world.
Dang! All right, yeah. I take it they didn't sign it at the same time. They probably
yeah, it's signed in blood.
Yeah. They shook hands and smiled, signed the poster at the same time. Hugged each other.
Yeah,
maybe a little peck on the cheek. Yeah. I don't know. Let's get on with the show.
So we're starting. Okay, excellent. As always, of course, here on the Volley, that we talk about what's been going on this week in the Premier League, of course, and well, obviously, as we'll come to, the reason why we're not doing a show today as a watch along is because some clubs, not naming names, but they wear red and come. Yes. Have decided to stretch the use of the COVID legislation, shall we say. We'll come to that, I'm sure, later on. In the meantime, though, how about we start with, I believe, thanks to Mags' amazing work while I've been gone. Thank you, sir, by the way.
No, I did really well.
How about we start with last Monday's game? We'll start with Manchester United and Aston Villa.
Well, I put that in the chat, but that was actually a cup game, so that really doesn't count. So it's actually Southampton against Brentford.
It was a cup game, you dick. I'm still jet lagged. I didn't even see that. Let's start with the game on Tuesday, Mags. Start with the only game that happened on Tuesday because of COVID-19.
Yes.
Southampton versus Brentford.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, talk us through what's happened with Tekkers Team of the Year here.
It fell apart.
They've become very crap, haven't they?
Yeah.
This Southampton team, it's almost like Jekyll and Hyde because they outperformed Brentford in this game so easily. Brentford were shambolic, conceding a goal within the first few minutes. They got a little bit of a reprieve when Janelle got the equaliser, but after that, it was pretty much all Southampton. A really kind of dominating game. Broge again on the score line. Che Adams with 2 amazing touches to kind of seal the deal with the 4th goal. But yeah, this was a really classy performance by Southampton. And the stats prove it. 12 shots to Brentford's 5, 6 on target to Brentford's 4. So it shows how lethal they were in front of goal. But this was a team that really played well together, really worked well as a unit. Pity that didn't kind of transition into the weeks, the games later in the week. But yeah, it was a good performance here by Southampton.
Chandler is really coming into his own here. He's really starting to actually get them on the goals a little bit. Tanner, you unfortunately you've been away from watch-alongs and things for a few months or so. What have you made in the time that you've been away of Southampton's seeming resurgence?
I mean, Southampton's always the team that's going to have the potential to come back into their own, right? I understand, the bit of surprise that we've had considering how awful that they've appeared to be, but they've always had the potential to turn things around. They've got decent management. They've got players there with a good amount of both youth and experience. It's really just kind of a matter of time before they lifted their heads out amongst, the Evertons and the Leeds and the the Brentfords of the world, and they showed it here against Brentford. I think it should also be noted about Brentford specifically. We kind of went into this season talking about how they're taking this Moneyball style approach, and that they're really diving deep into the analytics, and really kind of looking at the model built by Billy Bean from the Oakland Athletics back from baseball of yesteryear. What people often forget is that there were certainly rough, rocky patches for that Oakland A's team in the early 2000s, and all the way up through to today. Moneyball is not a perfect science, and unfortunately for Brentford, that was on full display for everyone against Southampton.
Yeah, Brentford have got to put the brakes on quickly here, or they're going to end up sliding closer and closer to that relegation zone. And with so many teams below them, notably a Claret and Blue side, with so many games in hand, they could quite easily jump above Brentford if they're not careful. Brentford need to put the brakes on quite quickly, I feel, here.
I mean, for Burnley to jump above them, we would need to win all our games in hand and essentially double the amount of points we've got. But I do understand the sentiment.
Yeah, I've been saying all season long, Mags, that I do believe that Burnley will be safe. I believe that. You don't believe it, but I do.
I am concerned to relegation now. I am at ease with it.
Okay, well, I don't feel that you should be. I think that I'm rooting for your side more than you are at this point.
I mean, we'll get to when we get to the news and the transfers of my reasoning to Burnley, essentially preparing for life in the Championship. But yeah, I think it's almost cut and dry that Burnley are going to go down.
I mean, does that mean that we're going to need to watch a Burnley game before this all happens? We've never seen one here on Radio Tekkers. I'm thinking
that will draw in the punters.
I will say,
watch the Burnley game before they go down.
I will say, Tanner, every time I try to suggest a Burnley game,
the
other side call it off. Nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with us.
It's been unfortunate, really. They just don't want to play Burnley. That's what it is.
Burnley are a tough team. Burnley are a tough team to break down.
To be fair, their match this week was called off because of Burnley. We have had a massive spark in COVID cases in this area, and having one of the smallest squads in the Premier League, and having a lack of younger players who can step up. It meant that we had to use the postponement legislation. But it's the first time in all of the 5 games I think that we've had postponed that it's actually come from Burnley. So yeah, a lot of bigger teams are abusing that suspension.
Yeah.
Oh, Dan in the chat saying people tune in to watch Mag die inside in real time.
I think
How
Mags,
do you know
Mags
I'm
will
not
be
already
fine.
dead inside?
I think Mags will be fine. I feel like if we brought Chris on, I think it would just be it would be
watch a live
escalated 10 times
self-destruction.
over.
We would see a breakdown if Chris came on the show.
Oh goodness.
That could be interesting. Speaking of sides who I thought who are down and out, your words, Mag, not mine.
Wow.
Norwich City continued their march toward the Championship with West Ham United this week.
I mean, I don't. Have I ever said that they are down and out? I mean,
I have.
it's. Yeah, but you
I
said
have
that was
since they
my
promoted.
words.
Yeah, these are the Mags
Your word
were-
about Burnley. Your word about Burnley, Mags.
No.
So
Yeah, I mean, we'll get back onto Norwich again later on, but this result, wow, what a performance by Jared Bowen. How this guy is not getting the England setup is beyond me, because he. Whilst he had a kind of like a rough period earlier on in the season where nothing he was doing was going right, in the last 8 to 10 games, he's been absolutely on fire, ripping Norwich to pieces in this game. Should have probably had a hat trick, but yeah, what a massive performance, and what a this Norwich team just doesn't seem to care anymore. They don't seem to have the passion. They certainly don't have the player skill level to survive. And yeah, it's almost done for Norwich. I know that they got a win this weekend, but I think that's kind of like the final throes of death for Norwich. Nobody in the Norwich side seem to have any passion, seem to want to be able to do anything for Norwich. Absolutely dominated in possession, dominated in shots, dominated in corners. Yeah, this was a return to form for West Ham. Classic performance. That doesn't always translate, as we'll get on to later on. But yeah, it was a great performance by West Ham, and well deserved 3 points.
indeed, Tanner's been in our little Twitter DM chat. We have been singing the praise of Jared Bowen for a while, and you have, and you've there's been a lot of paper talk this week about him being linked with Liverpool.
Yeah.
And
I feel Matt is in a different Twitter group than us.
I swear, to be
Like-
fair,
Are you on a Twitter group with a different Tanner? Yeah.
I'm in many Twitter groups. I'm on coffee, so shut up.
Yeah.
Why are you on coffee, Matt? Have you just come back from holiday by any chance?
I landed 8 hours ago.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Haven't slept since yesterday morning at 7:30 a.m. Right.
Yeah, no, Jared Bowen, he's an interesting character, and I think that if we go take the Radio Tekkers time machine back, you'll see that we've had discussions about Jared Bowen potentially joining Liverpool. I think as early as last summer. He would have been an interesting prospect, but I think that one key reason why Liverpool perhaps did not go for him is he does not pose he does not have that same lack that not lack of pace, but he has a lack of pace compared to Mane and Salah, and it would be hard for him to break into the team. Where I think that maybe they could have looked a little bit further into him is just the fact that he finds himself at the right places at the right time. He's not a winger in the sense that you would find a Salah or a Mane. He's almost like a Raumdauer, You know, he finds himself just in the best places to be to score a goal, despite you know his I guess what he can use for speed at the time. He just has an amazing ability to find the back of the net for this West Ham team.
I think the issue will be, though, translating that into the Liverpool style of play. That's a problem. West Ham's style of play is essentially lump it forward to Antonio. Antonio controls the ball, keeps it down, and everybody feeds off him. With Liverpool, it's get hold of the ball pretty quickly, kind of almost like counterplay, and then the whole team floods forward as a unit. Yeah. And I don't think Bowen's pace would help that. They would have to maybe have him push forward a little bit more. Yeah. And I don't think he brings anything that Firmino and Jota doesn't already bring to the team, right. In terms of goal output. So whilst it would be a great signing, I don't think it wouldn't be an upward move. It would kind of be like a sidestep, I think.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. And I completely agree with that. I do not expect Liverpool to make any moves for Jared Bowen this winter. Probably not at all. I think they're looking for somebody of a different profile, but I think that it's hard not to recognize the kind of goal output he can have for this West Ham team. Especially if you're not getting Mikel Antonio on the score sheet, you can certainly get Jared Bowen on the score sheet.
This is very true. I mean, prior to today's game, which we'll come to obviously, Jared Bowen has had 8 goals this season, all competitions, and 8 assists, which is nothing to be sniffed at. Absolutely fantastic return for a player who had a very, very quiet period.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's almost a goal involvement in every single game.
Yeah, which is great. Absolutely great, obviously. He was sold for 20 million in January, just before the pandemic hit. Is he delivering on the 20 million now at last?
Yeah, he's got to be. I mean, 3 goals in 2 games over this past week is definitely delivering. And right now, 20 million is a drop in the ocean compared to some of the prices you pay. So, yeah, I think he's great value for money for West Ham. And not just for his goal output and goal contribution, but for the way he is almost a fulcrum point to how West Ham play. He's him and Antonio are everything that West Ham do good going forward, and you get the rest of the team kind of playing off those two and creating the chances and the goals that they get. So yeah, I think he's been vital to West Ham, and that's 20 million is cheap, absolutely cheap, at half the price.
Absolutely. Dean Smith, should you took the job?
It pays his bills.
That is the best answer I've ever heard.
You know, I feel like he should have dabbled more into baking. Like I feel like he's, like he could have taken the job.
He missed the boat getting into the NFT market. That's the problem.
Yeah, he should have been day trading Bitcoin. I hear the market's really good right now.
I can't help thinking that whoever took this job was on a high to nothing. I mean, we are halfway through Mags's Christmas period, as he likes to call it.
Been a very subdued one.
It has been a little bit subdued, so although there has been a couple of big moves this past week, which we'll get to.
Ooh. Fuck off.
Ooh.
I wasn't going for that one, Mags. I'm referring to another Claret Blue team. Yes, but before we move on to that, we'll move on from West Ham and Norwich momentarily. We've just got a message here from Dan Griffin who's saying, "Give me Sir Anson Macklem at Liverpool. Won't happen, but I want it. No offense, Dan, but get over it. It ain't gonna happen." And Jared Bowen is good, but his dad Jim was a true legend. I'm not entirely sure that I'm not entirely sure that Hannah gets the reference.
I definitely get it.
Yes,
Jim Bowen. Yeah,
bit of bully.
Can be a bit of bully.
He's got till the end of the break to count out this £21.
Yeah, he does. Or your BFH, your bus fare home.
It always tickled me how he pulled out of his back pocket as well, like it was his own real money, like it was his coming out of his
I hope
wallet.
it was. I hope it was.
Tanner's like, I have no clue what you're on about.
Non-plus at all. What
I'm
even is darts?
Yeah, I'm just checking for the NFL updates here.
Brilliant.
It's playoff time. You gotta
Indeed, didn't the Bills get their first win in 34 years?
Yes, very exciting times to be
Their first win in
for
34
in the playoffs,
first playoff win in 34
okay.
years, and they actually had a perfect offensive game. It's amazing.
Yeah,
They're beating the New England Patriots.
I saw on Twitter that the first ever text message sent was like 2 years after they had won a playoffs game. So all the texts about the Bills winning a playoff game are the first time that it's ever happened that someone has texted about that. So
it's quite outstanding. Actually, yesterday, obviously this is a different football podcast, but the Cincinnati Bengals also got their first playoff win in well over 30 years. It's outstanding for them too.
Okay, good.
Fantastic.
I'll definitely watch it.
To be fair, Super Bowl always will. Okay, Brighton and Hove Albion versus Crystal Palace in a handicap match. I like saying that all the time. Never gets old. Palace. Remind me, because I didn't get a chance to see this game.
Brilliant. Good host. Knows his stuff.
But I saw the highlights, but I didn't get to see the game live, obviously.
Yeah. You were too busy eating ice cream, getting brain freeze whilst walking around Disney World.
Did you say eating ass cream?
I mean, what a man does in the privacy of his own hotel room.
You gotta watch your accent sometimes, Max. No, Mag. If no one's seen this, Matt's significant other, Chris, has done an amazing job of posting pictures of Matt wandering through all the I guess Disneyland theme parks at different periods of being induced with a brain freeze. So go and check that out on Twitter, folks. It's absolutely stunning.
At Chris Lewis 37.
Yes,
definitely go and check it out.
Yes,
thank you, guys. Yes, well, I was going to ask you. I didn't get a chance to see if Vieira actually was on the touchline for this game or not, because I know that he was out with COVID-19 last week.
I think he was back. He certainly did the post-match interview. So, I think he was there. And he saw a Palace collapse.
It wasn't a good performance.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Butland, as soon as he was named on the team sheet, everybody expected a Brighton demolition. And it should have happened. Brighton were absolutely all over Crystal Palace for the majority of this game, hitting the crossbar. Pascal Gross with maybe the worst penalty in the history of the Premier League. Absolutely ridiculous penalty. It was backs to the wall for a lot of the game for Crystal Palace, and then they smashed and grabbed with the goal from Conor Gallagher, and everyone thought they have got away with blue murder here. But unfortunately for them, unfortunately for Brighton, who are becoming draw experts, they managed to squeeze the equaliser from I think it was an Anderson own goal.
It was,
On the balance of it, Brighton probably still feel aggrieved that they didn't come away with more. In terms of possession, they had twice the amount of ball that Palace did. They had 19 shots to Palace's 3. 4 of those on target compared to the 1 shot from Palace that was on target, and that went in. So Brighton still would have wanted way more out of this game, but it's better to leave with a point than to leave with nothing. And both teams can say that they've gained from this result. Palace probably more so than Brighton though.
I've just checked some of the comments after the game for this. Butland allowed us to go home with a point.
He was superb. Butland was superb in this game.
He recovered well from his FA Cup mishap for sure.
Yeah. Everybody was thinking this was a hardy to nothing. That Butland was just going to leak goals, but yeah, he definitely came good. Did some outstanding saves. But yeah, it's the point shared.
Yeah. Both these sides going to be comfortable mid-table, we think, don't we? Would they fair to think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see, I don't see a last-minute push from either of these teams. What's interesting is that people often forget that this is the big rivalry game for both teams on the calendar every year. It's one of the more unusual ones.
Always forget that.
There's no geographic point of reference to it. There's no it's just spats that fans have had between each other for that have been compounded over the years.
One example of that, Tanner, just to cut you off slightly there, is that Colts United's main rivals, apart from being Ipswich and Norwich, obviously local rivals, they've got a big rival with Wycombe Wanderers. Nowhere near Colchester. Do not understand it at all. Do not understand it at all. It's not like it's a franchise thing, like it is over in America sort of thing, where they move the franchises around. It's weird.
Fans get bitter. Yeah. This is just a very strange rivalry. I feel like for a game like this, you would have hoped for maybe I don't know. Either side would have hoped for a better result, but I think both, like Max pointed out, will end up being satisfied that they did not actually lose the game. So I don't know if any team is going to be if either of these teams will be disappointed, to be Crystal Palace for letting this one go.
Yeah, especially so late onto an own goal as well. They've done so well to keep him out for so long. I've got to admit, up until Butland appeared in the FA Cup game, I forgot he was actually a Palace player.
Yeah. Signed from Stoke, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
And wasn't he number 2 at the 2018 World Cup 4 years ago? And now he's the backup to Guaita at Palace.
It is bizarre, but that was only Butland's 4th Premier League start for Palace.
Yeah, he used to be kind of like a hidden gem on Football Manager as well. Pretty much every season you'd sign up Butland because he was just overpowered. And now he can't get a game.
Yeah, he's sort of played always like you'd always get him in because he'd be cheap and his stats would just rocket. I forget where Stoke signed him from. I think it was Blackburn.
No, I think he was at Southampton.
Jack Butland was previously at.
Thank you, Tanner.
He was previously at Stoke, but he had gone on several loan spells.
That maybe I'm thinking then.
Yeah,
because he was certainly everyone was talking for years like who's going to sign up Butland, who's going to sign him up, who's going to bring him up to their club, who's going to bring him in. They'll talk about Arsenal bringing him in. United were interested at one point, allegedly.
Nobody signed him.
Nobody did. Nobody signed him. And I feel a little bit bad for him in a way because...
How bad on Palace is that they're nobodies?
I mean, hey, bud. Your words, not mine.
Well, I'm going to save you from insulting each other. We're going to move on to yesterday's football.
We're good. We're just having some fun.
I know, but So yesterday's football, we had this.
Oh yeah. People are thinking that the sky has fallen because Manchester City has a 13-point lead up at the top of the table. Yeah.
Cut to 11 now.
Is it 11 or is it 10?
No, it's 11.
It's down to 11, yeah. We'll come to that later on, of course. But even so, what a goal from Kevin De Bruyne!
Oh my God, it was a good goal. It was a really, really good goal.
Yeah.
I mean, City should have had the game sewn up before that. I think there was a chance that Sterling had when he was through, and he could have finished the game, but he hooked it a little bit wide. Jack Grealish did really well as well on the wing, putting some good balls into De Bruyne. But this Chelsea team, they were piss poor, absolutely piss poor. And I think in the post scrum with Thomas Tuchel, he actually singled out Lukaku for a really poor performance. He said Lukaku lost the ball 18 times under no pressure. So yeah, he's really kind of firing into his team. But yeah, this was typical City, and we say it time and time again that they do enough work to secure the points. And what a way to secure it with that 25 yarder from De Bruyne. Great player. What a superb player.
The bizarre thing here is looking at the teams that were both laid out. First of all, Kepa gets a start, obviously, because Mendy was at the Africa Cup of Nations, of course.
And I don't think he had a bad game. I think Kepa did really well in keeping Chelsea in this game. Made a couple of really decent saves. So yeah, I think he was probably one of Chelsea's better players.
Indeed. And then you look at the City team, which was unquestionably full of quality. Obviously, we've said this countless times. But the comparison on the benches, City's squad is rather thin at the moment.
I mean,
in terms of names, anyway.
Okay, I mean they had Diaz, Gundogan, Jesus, Fernandinho on the benches. Yeah, a bunch of kids on the bench.
I would like
nothing with kids.
I would like to point out multiple times that all of us on this podcast have mentioned Gabriel Jesus is not worth the contract he's got it printed on.
But he's still a big name player.
Yes, I will agree with that. But usually it's like full, the entire thing. But they had 4 kids on their bench. Now, I'm aware that City's academy is starting to churn out talent. I mean, Foden, the prime example of that. They had a young lad last week as well, put a great performance. Then his name does escape my memory from this moment. Mag, can you help me here?
No.
You're gonna, fair enough. Also,
I don't know which kid. I don't know which one you're on about. I don't know which player.
They had to
probably
McAtee. Yeah, McAtee. Yeah, he had a good game. He had a very good game.
I love just leaving him there hanging. It's brilliant.
You're a bitch. You're an absolute bitch, and I love you for it. It was weird seeing Azpilicueta playing fullback, well, wing back technically for time and forever. Did he look like he lost a step?
He looked like he's on his way out of the door.
Do you think he's only in that position at the moment because players being away at other competitions?
Yeah, I mean, a team like Chelsea have got enough strength in depth and enough versatility with their players that they can put players kind of out of position and still they'd be able to do a good job. If you're a world-class defender, realistically, you should be able to play along that back line pretty solidly. And plus, he's had the history of being a fullback, so it's only like in his latter years that he transitions to being a centre back. So yeah, there would have been no doubt that he could perform in that position.
Well, I'm not meaning to keep harping on that, but while I was away, I saw a lot of Chelsea shirts.
Yeah.
Wandering around.
Plastics.
A lot of them had Pulisic on the back.
Well, they will do.
But I did see 6 or 7 with Thiago Silva.
Yeah.
Which was really nice to see.
Well, he's Brazilian.
Yeah, Disney is a big I guess attraction, not for just Americans, but for people all over the world, like yourself.
Yeah, but these guys had the thickest Floridian accents, and
Oh, okay.
but to be fair,
They
that's
could
not a
possibly
problem.
be Brazilian.
It's not a problem in a way. It's just nice to see
Yeah.
the respect being shown, because Shark are a greats of a modern era.
Well, I think Chelsea should be disrespected at all costs, but sure. I think, obviously Chelsea has a massive following here in the United States, partly due to Christian Pulisic, but it started a lot earlier than that. It started, really at the rise of the Abramovich era, when they started competing for titles with, the Manchester Uniteds of the world, right? I have a really good friend of mine who he became a Chelsea fan because he didn't want to support Manchester United. Like that was his sole reason, and
that's a good enough reason for me.
Yeah, well,
I think a lot of Chelsea's worldwide appeal can be put down to the Drogba effect. I think Drogba was such a star that he attracted people to Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, this game is interesting, and obviously Chelsea fans are going to be left a little bit disheartened by it. But I feel like this is a very good example of where you see both of these teams right now in their current trajectory. You saw that towards the middle to end part, Chelsea obviously getting frustrated by the lack of being able to finish any of their chances, and City kind of just exemplified everything that they do under Pep Guardiola. They remained calm at all situations, and they knew that as long as they controlled the ball, that they were going to control the game, and that they were going to come out on top of it. Chelsea simply, between not just Romelu Lukaku's poor finishing and poor performance, but also I think a little bit has to be credited to Thomas Tuchel's naivete about playing so narrowly and trying to stuff the midfield when you can't just do one thing to stop City. You have to beat them on multiple fronts.
Yeah,
and Chelsea failed to do that.
And I think there's also it also shows that there's some maybe internal friction maybe at Chelsea. You've got obviously the Lukaku stuff. Whilst he's kind of backtracked on his comments, and him and Thomas Tuchel have publicly made up, there's still going to be some tension there. But you've also got certain players with one eye on the exit, the likes of Azpilicueta, the likes of Rudiger, looking to perhaps move on. And then you've got players like Werner, who are so out of form that they're not even able to force their way into the team, let alone get a goal. So yeah, there's a lot of kind of internal issues happening at Chelsea that's kind of exacerbating the problems that they're having on the pitch.
Yeah, this seems to happen in cycles with Chelsea, where they will get really really hot, and then disaster happens, and then they have to reset the blueprint, and you can almost set your watch by it, right? It's very unfortunate for them, but at the same time, their fan base and supporters, they won't necessarily care too deeply, because at the end of the day, they're going to have some heavy financial backing with whoever the next manager who comes in. The problem is, they need to find a manager, ironically, like a Pep Guardiola, who's not going to take any guff from his players, and who straightens them out and gets them in line on day one to play for the club.
Yeah, and looking up and down the form guide, Chelsea have actually got the worst form of any club in the top 10, with only one win out of the last 5, which is. It's shocking of a Chelsea team to be in that position. Yeah, they've got a lot of draws, so they're still getting ticking over in terms of points, but you just don't expect a team of this caliber to not be getting win after win after win. it's quite jarring when you compare them to City, the likes of Arsenal and even Liverpool, who whilst not putting on the best performances, always tend to be able to eke out the victory. This Chelsea team are just not able to do that.
Yeah, if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be a little concerned, but they do seem to have a habit of reigniting towards the end of the season. So, I think
maybe
that
leaving it a little late this season, though.
This is the thing, of course. Of course, they are still in the Champions League, of course, so they could always retain their title there. So there is opportunities for them to have a successful end to the season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if they'd have won this game, it would have been a signal of intent at least. Yeah, it just looks bad, and that's why Thomas Tuchel is now 12-1 to be sacked.
I am not surprised because
He
Abramovich can be a little bit trigger happy when it comes to his managers. I don't expect it to happen, and I think the concentration will probably now go into the Champions League, knowing that the title is probably out of their reach now. But yeah, it's a come down to earth for Tuchel and his side, I think.
Yeah, to be fair, he's the same odds as Ralph Ragnarok to be sacked. So
I think that's more likely, to be fair.
We're going to come to that in a few moments. But first, let's move on to a team who desperately needed a win yesterday and was so close to getting it.
I know Watford's just denied this win that they deserved.
Indeed. So, yeah, at one point, I was looking at the table yesterday, like, that's not too bad for the teams at the bottom who need the results. And then, bang, everything has switched around again. Talk us through it, Max.
Yeah, and I was actually mocking then when I said Watford, but actually, stats-wise, they were the better team. They had more of the possession. They had 18 shots compared to Newcastle's 12, 5 on target compared to the one and only shot on target that Newcastle had. But what a great shot on target it was. Alan Saint-Maximin just had a relatively quiet game, but he's so reminiscent of Paulo Wanchope for me, where he doesn't even know what he's going to do when the ball comes to his feet. he just goes with the flow, and the rest of the team kind of like just work around him. Yeah, it was a superb solo goal. And Watford could feel pretty aggrieved that they'd gone behind, wasted a lot of chances in that first. I think Josh King had a decent chance. Pedro, who ended up getting the late equaliser, he had a decent chance. For me, a point seems fair, but when you consider how much money Newcastle have been spending recently and how much they're going to spend in the next week or so, you would think that Newcastle should have won this game, but yeah, a draw was fair. Does neither of the teams any good. In fact, ironically, it was probably the best result for Burnley and Norwich to have. But yeah, I feel that Newcastle are going to come good. They tactically their transfers have been astute. Trippier with a lot of Premier League experience, he'll do a great job. Chris Wood. Whilst as a Burnley fan, I'm disappointed that he's gone, but strategically it was a brilliant move by hamstringing the teams around you and taking away their goal threats. You give yourself a better chance to survive. But you need performances, and they didn't get a performance in this game. And Watford can be disappointed that they didn't come out with something out of this game, and I think that the kind of the way to rubber stamp it for Watford was Musa Sissoko hitting the bar against his old club. That would have just been an absolute killer for Newcastle. But point shared, yeah, does neither of the teams any good, to be fair.
True, but at the same time, I feel that Watford will be the happier, given that they were minutes from losing, of course. And it also really, really pissed off Eddie Howe. I see some passion from the man.
I still don't think he was the right man for the job.
Yeah, the right man for the job just got sacked earlier today.
He's just a fat Spanish waiter.
Well, it comes out in a moment. But yeah, Newcastle, obviously, they had both their big signings so far in the lineup. We'll say Maximum up there as well. Wood wasn't involved as much as they thought. I do know that our roving reporter and ex-vice president of Cheese and Biscuits, Mr. Chris Harris, he was very happy with the sale for that money.
I'm in a similar kind of mindset as Chris. At the end of the day, we had very little we could do at Burnley to keep hold of him. He had a release clause which is put in place to guarantee that we get a set amount for him, and it was activated. It makes great financial sense for Burnley. We've made 10 million on the sale of someone who is 31. It's disappointing that our main goal threat has gone, especially to our nearest rivals in terms of relegation. But financially, it was a great move, and like I said, strategically, it was a brilliant power play from Newcastle. As much as Newcastle fans can dream about drawing in world-class players with the seemingly unlimited funds that they've got, the position that they're in, they are not going to attract those players. They need to be realistic with the targets that they get to get them out of this relegation battle this season, and then maybe kind of go up a level in terms of quality for next season. Chris Wood is the kind of player that Newcastle could do with. Yes, he didn't have a great performance in this game, but what he does do is he runs his socks off for 90 minutes, and he gets in good positions to score goals. He's never going to be a 25, 30 goals a season player, but he certainly will be 10 to 15 goals and work his arse off to battle in that relegation fight that Newcastle are in. They've got a great signing there. Is he long term? Absolutely not. Perhaps 18 months at the best, but it's 25 million that Burnley can use to rebuild and maybe bring in some younger talent.
Watford getting valuable points, seeing as they're down the bottom. Ranieri is the favourite to be sacked, which is not surprised. Watford managers seem to, but as we mentioned before, you rent, don't buy. It is a case of Ranieri is 2-1 to be sacked next.
And I think that's Watford's first point in the last 15.
But they've had some tanking, but at the same time they've also had some big results this year. I mean, they spanked Everton and they spanked Man United, both of which
we could rock up at Goodison Park and spank Everton. Us three, just us.
Put me in nets and you two take care of everything up front. Yeah, fair enough, boys. It's to be fair though, they were big results for two teams with quality in their teams on paper, and they took them apart. Yeah. And that's credit to Ranieri. But as you say, Mags, they are not getting regular points left, right, and centre.
And I think that kind of shows the style of manager that Ranieri is. He's better as a manager in the upper echelons of the Premier League, maybe mid-table. He's not a relegation dogfight style of manager. He's not a kind of a getting stuck in the weeds kind of manager. He's not used to having to battle every week. He's more used to teams with flowing football who play beautiful attacking players, not lump it forward and kind of backs to the wall football. So when he's coming up against bigger teams who do play flowing football, that's more his style. He can work with that. But when he's up against teams where it's long ball, 4-4-2, solid formations, he seems to be struggling.
This is odd that you think, given that he's such a tinker man, that he'd be able to adapt that sort of thing, but
you need players to be able to tinker with. Watford have nobody to tinker with. They've got the set 11 and then nobody else.
This is what I was about to kind of tanner with a question. Besides the obvious answer being an entirely new team, what do Watford need in this last half of the transfer window?
Oh man, what do Watford need?
I'm guessing prayer.
Yeah, probably that. Probably a little bit of luck. Yeah, Watford's probably going to go down, right? Like it's unfortunate, but I don't see them staying up. They can't continue this trajectory much longer.
Mm-hmm. Will they go down before Ranieri's sacked?
For Ranieri's sake, I hope that he has a chance at it, but I honestly don't know. It could happen at any time, right? Like I hope that maybe even for his reputation, he gets out before they go down. I can't see Ranieri managing them while they're in the championship. Maybe that's something that he'd be open to doing, but Watford's ownership just seems a little bit. We talked about Chelsea being trigger happy earlier. Watford are definitely more trigger happy to get rid of a manager that they're not overly impressed with. Mm-hmm. I do want to make a note of a few quick things here before we move along from Newcastle as a subject, though. Just in general, the rumor mongering around them has obviously been, hey, we've got all this cash, let's go and spend some money here.
Of course.
But the names that keep coming up here are not these are not realistic targets.
Can I guess what they are, Meg? Can I guess what? Let me try to guess them. I'm guessing Mbappe.
No. We've got Diego Carlos, who is center back for Sevilla. Issue with that being Sevilla is actually within 5 points of Real Madrid right now at the top of the league with a game in hand as well. So they could actually be potentially, in contention, not just for Champions League spot, but possibly to win La Liga this year.
Sevilla to win La Liga? Oh, yes, please.
Yes, that would be a pretty outstanding achievement for Sevilla. It seems like a move that Monchi would want to make, knowing Sevilla, but at the same time, he's kind of part of that bedrock of what makes Sevilla so good right now. So I don't see Diego Carlos leaving Sevilla. Robin Gosens from Atalanta has also been widely rumored to join Newcastle United as well. That's not going to happen either. Atalanta is currently competing for Champions League spots and are just a whisker ahead of Juventus right now. So I don't see Robin Gosens leaving anytime soon. I could be wrong, but it is what it is.
Where you got Atalanta ahead of Juventus on merit in Serie A is chef's kiss.
Yes. Last one, Sven Botman, who is part of Lille's. Thank you. Who is part of Lille's Ligue 1 champions last year at Lille. Sven Botman is already. It's already been said that Sven Botman is not going anywhere this winter, according to Lille's, chair people. So Newcastle, I think, needs to kind of go back to what maybe we said earlier this season regarding the potential takeover and find some targets that they know will join. Kieran Trippier was able to join them because Atletico Madrid really didn't need them, and they weren't doing well enough to keep him around.
They had a really poor season.
Yeah. Chris Wood, no disrespect, he didn't need to stick around at Burnley. Burnley made a smart economical decision, as Mags brought up. So it's Newcastle are also going to have to sort out their house, not just Watford. They need to figure out what they can do with this financial firepower that they've found very recently, and actually make some workable moves, not just pie in the sky moves.
Indeed, deadline day going to be interesting. Wrapping up here on Tekkers for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of teams where things have changed, Norwich and Everton. This was a massive result at the bottom of the table.
This makes me happy. It really, really does.
This is.
You wouldn't think that, guys, but Max can explain why.
Because Ray Cash supports Everton, and he went against our advice.
All of our advice.
We advised him not to. He took some ridiculous advice from a former podcaster who we will not mention on the show, Ricky from the Ricky and Clive show. Bad advice, and he's absolutely paying for it.
No, I thought he went against Ricky's advice. I thought Ricky had told him that he needed to support Manchester United.
No, Ricky told him to support Everton. We were.
I don't know.
Well, we'll have to go back into the archives, but essentially, nobody told Ray to support Everton.
Nobody,
and he did. And he's reaping the rewards from that. Yeah,
all the benefits.
Everton are piss poor, and I feel that I feel sorry for Benitez. I really do. He was never wanted as the manager at Everton, obviously due to his links with Liverpool. He was absolutely hamstrung in the transfer market. The players that Everton brought in, they paid ridiculous amounts of money for players who were not good. He lost pivotal members of his squad in the likes of Calvert-Lewin, and then Helen Rodriguez obviously wanted out. Yeah, he was always going to be on a hard into nothing at Everton, and I'm actually more surprised he stuck around as long as he did, because their fall from grace has been epic to watch. Absolutely epic. They have become the league's whipping boys, and if Norwich are getting a win against you, there is something desperately wrong with the way that you're playing. And it was almost kind of epitomized by the way the first goal went in. Michael Keane absolutely flat-footing his own goalkeeper, who nobody likes anyway, Jordan Pickford, massive douchebag. But it was just all that Everton deserved in terms of play. Just dominated on the pitch, even though they had the majority of the ball. They had less shots than Norwich, and this is a Norwich side who haven't been able to score. I think it was 9 hours since they last got a Premier League
9
goal,
hours,
which is shocking. And they dominated Everton in this game. A great finish by Richarlison to put the result in doubt a little bit. But he's another player who really frustrates me, because what he did for this goal was world class. But what did he do for the rest of the 89 minutes? Absolutely nothing at all. There's no passion from this Everton side. There's no strength. This is the Everton side that looked like Arsenal from a year ago.
Yeah.
It's going to take a big manager to turn this around, and they are being sucked into that relegation battle. And what are they, 6 points clear of the relegation zone now? But Burnley have 2 games in hand over them, as well as then like 4 games in hand over the likes of Norwich and Brentford. Everton, are they too big to go down? As of right now, absolutely not. This was a horrific performance by one of the biggest clubs in the country, and it must put a big smile on your two faces.
Absolutely.
No,
It
doesn't actually.
Here's an interesting stat. This is the second time that Rafa Benitez has directly or taken up a job directly after Carlo Ancelotti has left. So he played cleanup crew for Carlo Ancelotti after Ancelotti left. The historic Real Madrid team that he put together the first time around. Ancelotti got the axe, not Ancelotti, but Benitez got the axe after just one season at Real Madrid, and now he gets the axe once again in less than a season after Ancelotti's left Everton. Maybe he just needs to learn his lesson this time around and stop following Carlo Ancelotti.
Maybe.
Very possible on that side of things. Let's not forget, of course, we'll come to Norwich's side of things in a moment because Norwich could have been 3-1 quite easily. It could have been 3-1 quite easily. They hit the bar at the end. Everton now, obviously, without the quote fat Spanish waiter.
Such a mean thing.
If he turned up to your table wearing a vest and a little bow tie, you would think he worked at a restaurant.
I'd ask him what wine works best on the menu. You know.
To be fair, even Liverpool fans chant, "You're just a fat Spanish waiter" at him. To be fair, but he's affectionate from Liverpool fans because Liverpool fans still love him.
Is it?
Especially if you put Everton in the relegation fight. So yes,
I mean, there's always the discussion like who actually masterminded, Istanbul. Was it Rafa or was it actually Steven Gerrard?
Maybe
is it all good with Rafa Benitez on the red side of Liverpool? I don't know.
With this last 6 months at Everton, absolutely, he's cemented his legacy as a Liverpool legend.
Absolutely, some people have said that like
Secret Agent Rafa.
There will be a statue outside Anfield now with Rafa in an Everton shirt.
There is a meme going around at the moment with Rafa's face on it saying like, I told you Everton were a small club. Look at them, bottom 5. So, yeah.
Bill Shankly-esque statue of Rafa with like the scarf holding up the Everton scarf in front of Anfield.
Oh, God. Okay. The top 5 people to replace Rafa at Everton. The favourite is Wayne Rooney. Second,
is that the list? Is that how this list is starting?
Or is this just 5 people you've named?
No. This literally is the next permanent Everton manager. Wayne Rooney is the favourite 2-1.
Number 2, oddly on the list, also Rafa Benitez.
Steve Bruce has got to be on that list.
Hang on, I'll find out in a second.
Sam Allardyce is on the list.
If you give me a second, gentlemen, I shall quickly have a look for you. Steve Bruce is 80-1. Yes,
that's a punt.
That's actually not nearly as bad of odds as I thought it would have been at first.
Sam Allardyce is not on the list, unfortunately. But Solskjaer is at 33-1.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Take Solskjaer. Solskjaer has got to be that man.
Duncan Ferguson is second favourite at 5-2. Roberto Martinez is third favourite at 7-2.
No way he goes back to that shit show. Not in a million years.
No.
Lampard and Graham Potter, both 7s.
Potter
Graham
dropping down to Everton. Get to fuck. No way Potter is going down to Everton. No, Potter's looking at the likes of Liverpool, maybe Leicester, Man United. If Everton come rocking, he's just going to do the bend of me where he's laughing and then he goes, oh, wait, you're serious? Let me laugh even harder.
I will say that this afternoon, Mourinho was 33 and now he's 16.
It's a poor do when you go into the Mourinho boat because your club has collapsed that hard. No.
Indeed.
Oh. The job should be Ferguson's. It absolutely should be Duncan Ferguson's.
I'm sure Roma would be happy if
please, bobbity boobity, please take it, Mourinho.
The bobbity boobity back. It's fantastic. Hashtag bobbity boobity. Everton, let's not scare around it here. People can blame Rafa as much as you want, and you can blame Rafa.
I don't actually blame Rafa.
But the fact matter is when those players cross that touchline, they're the ones being entrusted with a job, and they've lost 9 of their last 12 games.
Yeah, because they're terrible.
12 games ago, they were 4th in the league,
and then selling their best player, or who's been one of their best players in this season, Lucas Digne.
Yeah,
it's. I feel for Rafa. I think he was hamstringed in this club. He was never going. He was never going to be in a position where he would come out of this club smelling of roses. The fans hate him. No, I mean, there's no. It's comical, but the fans actually do hate him because of his history with Liverpool. It was a ridiculous move. Even before he was signed as manager, the fans made it clear we do not want this guy to manage our club, and
they were right.
And the chairman Mashiri just totally ignored the fans. So he was never going to win. And then, like I said, hamstringed him in terms of transfers. Paid ridiculous amounts of money for the likes of Alex Iwobi, which was a ridiculous signing. The issue with Helen Rodriguez, who was one of their better players. Yeah, it was always going to end this way. And
was Iwobi signed permanently under Benitez?
I think it was just before Benitez took over. But they paid 30 million for him. 30 of the Queen's millions.
That's at least 25 million more than what he should have gone for.
Well, speaking of 25 million, that's what they got for Luca Digne, of course.
See, so you got it. You picked up on
it. is worth more than Lucas Digne.
Not only that, but then loaned in El Ghazi, which is, in my opinion, is not a bad signing on loan. But then he puts him on the bench and doesn't bring him into the game. If he's a big like El Ghazi, Everton are a huge club. He's saying that the fans want to hear. Obviously, the fans want to hear that sort of thing. So I think okay, he could be the man to help, like prop us up for a bit, if nothing else. Leave him on the bench. Bring on Richarlison for Rondon. Calvert-Lewin started. And as Mag said, Norwich haven't scored for 9 hours. And they scored twice.
And do you know what helps a team like Norwich score? When your defenders are that poor that one of them scores a goal for you, and the second one, who was brought in to kind of shore up the defence, Mikhalenko, he plays the through ball for the second goal. When it was a ridiculous back pass. Yeah, it was a piss poor performance all the way across the board by Everton.
Indeed. Despite this, as you said, you said that us Liverpool fans would be happy seeing Everton losing. I'm not, because I have money on Norwich going down. So,
Norwich are going down. This doesn't change that at all.
But Norwich fans would have been celebrating about this in the streets around Carrow Road last night. So one of my friends was still drunk at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Is a win over Everton something to celebrate? I mean, it should be a given.
Scoring goals against anyone.
That is true. I concede that.
Yeah, one of my friend's Facebook feeds about it. This thing was like, holy mother of God, we've scored a goal. Yes, it's an own goal, but a goal is a goal. That's all.
When you're in the position that Norwich are in, it doesn't matter how it happens. If the ball goes in the net, it's something to celebrate.
Indeed, good for Norwich. Everton must try harder.
Probably getting relegated.
Can you imagine that's huge? If a team the stature of Everton gets relegated,
wouldn't that be a shame? Wouldn't that be a shame?
No more Liverpool derbies though. So it would actually be a shame.
Well, to me, may not pick it up anyway.
Man. The bragging rights of Everton getting relegated would be far superior to any derby victory that you could possibly imagine.
Yeah. We mentioned Southampton earlier, obviously, and they had a game yesterday as well. This game was definitely not like a polar opposite almost of the game we saw in week 4.
Very, very Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, Southampton still dominated the game in terms of stats, having 10 shots on target, which is just absolutely astounding that they didn't come away with the victory. But yeah, I mean, Adama Traore comes good. Finally
22 games, wasn't it?
I mean, I don't understand the hype around him. Yes, he's fast. Yes, he can dribble, but that is it. His final ball is woeful. His finishing is mediocre. But every transfer window, he seems to attract a hell of a lot of attention. I mean, it wasn't that long ago he was being touted for the likes of Liverpool and Man United. I think that's way above his station. But Wolves continuing that kind of that sneaky push up to the European spots. 2 wins in a row now. Haven't lost in the last 4. Yeah, they're doing some great work. All led by captain Conor Cody, who was an absolute rock in this game. Jimenez, after his horrific head injury, has come back all guns blazing. But Jesus Christ, what a goal by Ward-Prowse. I think that may be my favourite goal of this week. The kind of knuckleball free kick, almost Roberto Carlos style banana shot. Yeah, glorious goal. But Wolves coming away with the victory, and they'll be incredibly happy with this.
Yeah. I was quite impressed with Toti Gomez in this game as well, though. He's making his first appearance since he joined in summer 2020.
Yeah, was he from the guy from Grasshoppers?
He was on loan at Grasshoppers, yeah, and they brought him back, and he did very well. What people say, like, oh, Wolves, they're not a bad team. People forget that Wolves have conceded the fewest goals in the league this season, apart from Man City. Wolves really shouldn't be discounted. I mean, they as you say, Max, they're knocking on the door of those European spots, probably in a Europa Conference, but that's still massive for Wolves.
I mean, I suppose that's what you get when you've got essentially the Portugal 11 in your side. I mean, on paper they've actually got a really good team. I mean, Sarr is great in goal. João Moutinho for his age is absolutely ripping it in midfield. And I've always kind of thought that Trincao is got the potential to be a world beater. Yeah, I think that this is sneakily a pretty solid team for Wolves.
Yeah, this Wolves team is actually on paper really, really good. I mean, if you're playing Football Manager and you want to kind of go for a niche kind of maybe hipster-esque Premier League team and not pick one of the big 6, you could hardly put a foot wrong with Wolves. You know, they have again a good blend of youth and experience that really makes them, you know, ideal as a team, and they work hard for each other. I think is another thing here. This Wolves team is very, very good, and I really don't think enough people give them credit.
I agree.
Yeah, as impressive as Wolves were in this game, Southampton had their chances. On another day, they could have won this game.
Oh yes, Sarr was superb, making some great saves. I think there was a shot by Perrault in the first half that he was able to keep out, and then there was I think it was a Salisu header from close range, which he was able to stop. Yeah, Southampton should have got more out of this game, but Wolves took their chances really well. I think they only had 5 shots on target compared to Southampton's 10, and was able to get 3 goals out of those 5 shots. So, yeah, it's when you have those opportunities, it's taking them and scoring goals, and Wolves did that in this game pretty successfully.
Indeed, Southampton obviously are now if they're sitting in 12th, which I think they would be happy with end of the season, sort of a rebuilding product again this year.
Hassan Huttle will certainly be happy with that, especially when they had that spell where they couldn't pick up a point for love nor money. I think 12th would be a massive improvement. But Wolves will certainly be looking at the results from the likes of Man United and thinking, can we slide into that 8th spot, knowing that how United are collapsing again under Ralph Rangnick, almost like they were under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
We'll come to that momentarily, Mags. Of course, the next thing on the agenda.
Wolves in Europe is I'd be more than happy with that.
I'd be very happy with that indeed, as would Wolves, of course. Southampton, though, they're on 24 points, so I say they're not beyond the stretch of imagination, given that they have played 2 games more than a lot of teams below them. They are more than catchable if they don't keep an eye on things.
Yeah, I mean, anyone from Palace downwards could still be dragged in.
Dare you say Leicester? Whisper it quietly.
Leicester maybe. Form wise, they tend to pick up more wins than the likes of Palace and Southampton. But if you look at the actual form guide from 11th down, there's nobody who really stands out as someone who could climb their way out of that and then force their way to the top 10. Trading wins and losses. I mean, the likes of Brentford, 1 win in 5. The likes of Everton, 1 win in 5. Watford, no wins in 5. Southampton have only got 2 wins out of the last 5. So they could easily be dragged into that relegation zone, especially if the teams below them start picking up victories.
On a related note here, I think that if you're Southampton, you do have to be worried about maybe some wandering eyes, especially looking at the likes of their captain, James Ward-Prowse. I know of a certain black and white striped, kitted club who could really use a replacement for John Joe Shelby, and I think
Notts County, they'll be looking into
Juventus,
Tanner, with the greatest respect to James Ward-Prowse,
I feel you are going to disrespect him.
I'm bracing for it.
A shovel would be a better replacement for John Joe Shelby.
Well, I mean, that's why I brought this up, because James Ward-Prowse would be an amazing addition for Newcastle United and a significant upgrade.
Shelby doesn't make a team better; he makes it worse.
What I'm saying is, Newcastle United should buy James Ward-Prowse.
He should be top of their shopping list.
Newcastle United are the current AEW football, aren't they? Yes. Anybody with any kind of form or should be linked to Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, seriously though, I think James Ward-Prowse is a free kick specialist, something that Newcastle desperately need.
Had the record,
he can spray the ball pretty much anywhere that you need, and he provides a great alternative in leadership to Jermaine Lascelles, who, I think Ward-Prowse would be an outstanding choice to be a vice captain going into next season, with the two of them being able to keep a steady hand over that locker room.
A bizarre thing as well, as we mentioned many times, Max especially, James Ward-Prowse is doing this on a regular basis for Southampton, and he doesn't even get a look in England first 11.
It's a crime, shocking. Really.
Yeah,
Tim Sherwood might, gotta ask some questions of him. Is he the right man for the job?
Time to right man for the job. The perfect segue, Tanner. Thank you. Is Ralph Ragnarock the right man for the job?
No.
Okay, moving on. Okay, Man United in cruise control in this game, and then.
Then Phil Coutinho came on and rocketed them. Rocketed
this
United
is the
into the
Coutinho
stratosphere.
I remember from the Premier League.
Yeah.
He spent how long has he spent out of the Premier League when he went to complete his dream move to Barcelona?
5 years.
It's not been that long.
I think it's about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
But it's almost like he's never been away. This was the Coutinho that secured that Barcelona move those seasons ago. Wow, it was pretty much instantaneous from when he came on the pitch. The way that Villa were playing, he just changed the mindset at Villa to the point where for his goal he ran into the post. He was that committed to scoring that goal. He ran headfirst into the post. What a great signing. Come absolutely out of nowhere. I mean, you look at a player like Coutinho and you think he's played for the likes of Bayern Munich, Barcelona,
won the
Liverpool.
Champions League with Bayern Munich.
Yeah. You would not have expected in a million years he rocks up in Birmingham. Not at all. But he could be a massive difference maker and kind of revitalize Villa's season, who started pretty well under the Gerrard regime, but have kind of tailed off. I think Coutinho could be that catalyst for them to climb up that division. If this 25 minutes or so game that he got against Man United is anything to show, that's definitely possible. Great signing. I absolutely love it.
Villa's made this really good team. Kind of like how we talked about with Wolves. Villa are very sneakily very, very good on paper. Again, if they were to make the likes of Phil Coutinho permanent, alongside Digne coming over from Everton,
that was a cracking signing. It really was.
I mean,
again, another player who was being linked to the likes of Inter Milan, the likes of Juventus, and Villa have nipped in and secured him.
You still have Leon Bailey, who's still at the club. Buendia,
Watkins,
Watkins,
Danny
Ings. This is
young Jacob Ramsey. What a great player he is.
Douglas Luiz.
Yeah, this is a very, very good team that Gerrard has inherited here, and
Gerrard's getting the best out of them for sure. But most of this is he's missing.
But I mean, if the other guy didn't do anything with him, is it really his team?
True. He brought them in. Gerald's getting the best out of them most. So that's fine though. That's fine. Gerald's doing a good job.
Right. We'll see how Steven Gerrard develops this Aston Villa team as time goes on. But I think it would definitely be in Aston Villa's best interests to monitor Phil Coutinho closely and to offer him whatever they possibly can to stay. Barcelona was a dream move turned into a nightmare, even to the extent to where he knocked out Barcelona with Bayern Munich to win the Champions League.
8-2, wasn't it?
Yeah,
8-2.
There was an 8-2. I think was it the quarterfinals in 2020. Yeah, fantastic for Phil Coutinho. He's a world-class player, and I think that he still has the bones of a world-class player in him. It would be in Aston Villa's best interest to try and keep somebody like him around.
And he has a lot to prove now.
A lot of experience, a lot to prove. He's still got that chip on his shoulder about the move to Barcelona. I mean, Barcelona would probably even give Villa a decent price to sign him permanently.
Have they retained a purchase option?
25 million.
Jesus Christ, that's pennies. That's pennies. I'd sign him now.
For Phil Coutinho, make that deal permanent, right?
I think it's only available at the end of the season.
I mean,
start putting that 25 million.
You've got 25 million to do. Yeah, you've got 25 million somewhere in the bank, I'm sure. Television rights money is ridiculous right now. So
after that one performance, that 25 minutes, he's already earned that move.
Plus a chance to play under Steven Gerrard. Somebody who he already knows quite well. He's going to know what Steven Gerrard wants out of him, and Gerrard knows exactly how to motivate him.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a no-brainer.
A good move all the way around.
Yeah. Indeed. On the other side of things, apparently players don't want to play for Man United.
Yeah, so
I mean, surprise, surprise.
Tanner, behave.
I mean, it is, to be fair, it is Anthony Martial who has made no bones about wanting to leave Man United, that he doesn't feel that he fits there anymore. But
Respectfully, he hasn't fit there for about 5 years.
No, that is very true. But he's come out and flatly denied that he rejected to be in the squad. But Ralph Rangnick has claimed that he has. So there's definitely some sort of someone's telling tales out of school. But these last few performances from Man United, and epitomised by this one against Aston Villa, shows that all is still not well in the red half of Manchester. And if a manager with the credibility and of Ralph Rangnick is not able to change the mindset at Manchester United, it's proving that player power is too strong at Manchester. There's clearly massive issues and massive disconnect between the management and the players there, to the point where even Rangnick is struggling to get the best out of this squad. Who pulls this squad into line? I have no idea.
Well, I think that there's a few things that we need to touch on here. Obviously, even a man of Ralph Rangnick's stature, he's not going to flip the switch at United overnight. Even if we look at Klopp's Liverpool back 5-6 years ago, going on now, he didn't flip the switch overnight either. There were times where he had to rally the fans, and I don't think that Ralph Rangnick has necessarily rallied the supporters and the board, most importantly, everyone internally from inside of United to the fans who show up every game. I don't think that he's united, so to speak, all of these parties together. So I think there's still going to, unfortunately, that part's still going to take some time. Regarding Anthony Martial, that's another guy who could possibly move slightly over to the black and white striped side of Juventus. No, Newcastle United.
I still think the best move for him will probably be Tottenham.
Whoa.
I have to take some issue with you, Tanner, here a little bit. Yeah. You're saying that about the whole comparing it to Klopp sort of thing. Liverpool fans.
That's what United fans are doing. They're comparing Ralph Rangnick to Klopp coming to Liverpool.
But the fact is that Liverpool fans were prepared to accept it was going to be a long rebuilding process. We as fans were prepared to accept that.
Yeah.
We watched him force the fans go to the Kop end and applaud the fans for sitting through a 2-2 draw with West Bromwich Albion. No offense, West Bromwich Albion, but it was not a good game of football. Yeah. But we went through all that, and eventually it came good for us. Man United fans want it now. They expect it now because of the talent on that pitch. The players on that pitch against Aston Villa should have wrapped it up 5-6-0 on paper, but it didn't.
But if you are Manchester United signing a manager like Ralph Rangnick, you're not signing a guy who is going to change, the fortunes of the club on the pitch right then and there. Ralph Rangnick is not a now guy. Ralph Rangnick is somebody who is building the blocks for a foundation to come tomorrow, right? He's building the club for tomorrow, not for today. If you wanted to hire a manager for today, you should have done everything in your power to sign somebody like Zinedine Zidane, right?
They tried, but
well, they didn't try hard enough, apparently. Ralph Rangnick, the only thing that's going to happen here is that Ralph Rangnick is going to have his time here at United, and he will likely only be offered to go upstairs if United deemed that it's fine, right? Like that was the whole long-term plan anyway. He's said that he wants to stay as manager for the long haul, but with these kind of results, it doesn't seem possible. I think they're going to try and shuttle him upstairs so he can further try and change the culture of the club and hopefully bring in a manager who can bring better results on the pitch in the guise of what Ralph Rangnick wants. That's what's going to happen.
I agree with you. I'm just saying that Man United fans don't agree with that concept. And Man United fans, come at me if you want me. At Matt.UK, by all means, come at me for this. I don't care.
Get red-pilled, United fans.
The fact matter is that
they're not a Big Six team anymore.
The fact matter is,
as much as Cristiano Ronaldo comes out and says in interviews that he won't accept anything than Man United finishing in the top 3, get to like it because it's not happening.
Yeah,
they're already
your visa in line to come to MLS. I'm sure that there will be
the weird thing
a welcoming party there from the Las Vegas PD for you.
There have been some presses saying that apparently Ronaldo can veto the manager that is signed by Man United.
I
don't know how true that is, but if that's the case, then what the fuck was in that contract he signed?
Ronaldo can veto.
If you don't like it, he'll leave, sort of thing.
I mean, is it a big loss?
I personally don't think so.
He's a great player. He's been a great player for the last 20 years, but he's still in a team in Manchester where they are still in 7th position. He hasn't changed them into a championship challenging team, has it? In the time he's been there. Yeah. They're still exactly where they were when he signed in the first place.
Yeah. Where was this mentality when they folded like a deck of cards against Aston Villa? Where was he then?
Good question.
Exactly.
Good question. Aston Villa, well recovered. Man United must do better. On to the first game from today, Sunday.
Is it the first game? Maybe the only game?
No, there's two games today.
Game.
There's two games. Yeah, two games. The first game today, Liverpool and Brentford. I could wax Liverpool about Liverpool because that's what I do on a regular basis, but I'm not going to. I'm going to let Tanner do it instead.
Oh, goodness. Okay. All right. Yeah, this Liverpool team, man, they know how to score some goals, don't they? Yeah. 3-0 against Brentford here. Got a little bit of revenge from earlier this season when Liverpool were unlucky to draw against them, and Brentford fought back to secure a draw. This Liverpool team without Salah and Mane showed some good character here. Not necessarily the first lineup that I would have chosen, but Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain did come good, and then unfortunately got injured. So
shock.
That's going to be something in the mind of Jurgen Klopp as things develop, I'm sure, over the course of the summer. But we saw some great showings here by Cade Gordon, who's a youngster who's been very, very good, very highly rated for the club. Klopp continuing to bed in these very talented youngsters into his squad and giving them lots of game time this season. I think he's definitely doing the right thing there. Taki Minamino, I mean, this guy,
every time he plays, he puts in a great performance.
Yeah. He's been written off and been the laughing stock of Liverpool fans even for so long. But I think that a lot of those rumors and murmurs were premature. I think that there's still very much a good player in Taki Minamino to relish here at this Liverpool club side for years to come. An overall very, very good performance here by Liverpool against a Brentford side who they just seemed unprepared. They did not look their normal selves. Just kind of open themselves up to be the firing squad against Liverpool here today.
They've certainly had a bad week. Brentford. It's not been any stellar performances, and I think this is the first time in nearly 5 years that either Salah or Mane hadn't started a game for Liverpool. So it
First
just shows.
time in May 2017, yeah.
So it shows the consistency that forward line have had, but they didn't need him. They really didn't need him. This was as one-sided a match as you are going to see. 27 shots with almost half of those on target. They put Brentford to the sword, and I think it was you, Tanner, who mentioned in our chat that the Brentford goalkeeper may need drug testing after his lapse for one of the goals. Yeah, it was a piss poor performance by Brentford, but on the opposite side of the coin, a really solid performance by a Liverpool who are without their best players. I mean, you couldn't have asked for any more from this set of players.
Mm-hmm.
There was some concern, of course. Ox went off with an ankle injury, of course, which
and also Red is wet. Oh, biscuit legs, Ox injured again.
Unfortunately, but of course that Minamino came in, of course, and well, it's jumped on the calamitous playing out from the back. Yeah, Brentford trying to do it against Liverpool, never gonna come off. If you make a mistake, the Liverpool pounce on you. It happens. But the best part is for the final 10 minutes of the game, we mentioned it earlier. The entire of Anfield were just singing for Rafa Benitez.
I mean, if there is a criticism from this Liverpool side, it's that it took so long for that first goal to go in that you would have been forgiven to think maybe it wasn't going to be your day. It was literally in the dying seconds of the first half that the first goal went in, and if Liverpool do have an issue, it's not closing out games and then kind of being hit on the break and essentially being smashed and grabbed. But yeah, they did what they needed to do. Classic performance. It keeps them in touch with Man City. They're certainly going to need a lot more luck to be able to rein those points in. But you can only do what you can do in terms of winning games, and Liverpool certainly doing that.
Yeah,
indeed. And points to be dropped, points to be gained. Who knows what's going to happen? Let's not forget that this point in the season, Newcastle back in '96 were this many points clear, and they didn't win the title. Newcastle, Man City, those different teams. I'm aware, but I'm saying it's happened before. It could happen again.
Yeah. It's going to be a very tight race, and you look back at something that I think Jurgen Klopp even said this himself, that kind of along the lines of what Mag said. Liverpool have to be able to control what they can control, and they're going to need to be damn near perfect in order to catch Manchester City. They have to continue to win games like this and grind out these results to really take advantage of any opportunity that Manchester City might slip up. That's just gonna have to be the game plan from here on out. If you're a Liverpool fan or supporter, dare I say, Liverpool needs to spend some money this winter. They need to bring in somebody who can replace the likes of the Ox. I saw Tifo Football made a great video about sensible transfers for Liverpool the other night, talking about the likes of Tete from Shakhtar Donetsk or Christopher Nkunku from RB Leipzig. I think both of those would be great cover to come in on the front line there without having to maybe go into the market for an Alan St. Maximin perhaps.
Yes, although I'm sure Dan Griffin would argue that one with you.
Yep.
If Brentford, did they expect anything from this game? Do you think they really were backing into the wall? They had 25% possession the entire game.
Yeah, I mean that shows the difference between Brentford at the beginning of the season, who were fearless, and the Brentford now who are going into every game almost expecting to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just shows what a difference 6 months and how quickly their style of football has been found out and countered. They lacked confidence. They certainly lacked the confidence that they had when they tore Arsenal a new one earlier in the season. They seem to be going into every single game hoping to come away with a point and not really kind of pushing for the win. They got exactly what they deserved because there was just no attacking impetus from Brentford, and it was all one way. And Liverpool could have easily had 6 on another day. It was just such a dominating performance.
The only thing as well, Ivan Toney had chances to score as well late on, but that's okay, Gordon. So it's swinging around about that side of things. Before we move on to the last one, just got a bit of chat over here in the chat. Michael Pellegrini is saying, happy soccer lads and welcome back, Matt. Thank you very much. Good cop, bad cop. Graham saying, just want to say welcome back, Matt. Hi there, Mags and Tanner.
Not also, welcome back, Tanner, or anything, because he has been away longer than Matt.
Don't blame me for that one. Graham also saying, if Newcastle had money they had now, they would easily have won the league that year.
No, I don't fully agree with that. I don't think it's leagues are won specifically on money. It's a massive factor, but I think you need the right players in the right positions, all working together. And I don't think just spending hundreds of millions does that. I mean, look at Man United. Look at the likes of when Tottenham went out and were spending trigger happy, the Arsenal when they were going out and being trigger happy in the transfer market, it doesn't always translate into success. You need to buy the correct players for the style of football you need. But yeah, money does help. It's just not the be all end all.
Indeed. Also in the chat, we've got before we move on to someone else who just popped in the Twitch chat. Graham saying I was going to say grass is green, just so Mags disagree with that too.
I mean, grass is green.
So, yeah, I think colors are just human constructs of the mind based on.
I would just say, Graham, you're colorblind. So what does it matter to you?
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, over on Twitch, we have Shah saying hello and then shouting at me saying, remember name, I just changed my name, Matt. Mm-hmm. Okay, Shah, remembering it. He'll continues on saying, as you say, Max, money will guarantee success. If anyone says this, they're the Premier League hipsters.
I mean, I would love it if Burnley went out and spent hundreds and hundreds of millions. I just don't think it guarantees you success. I mean, look at. I mean, the best example, Portsmouth. Yes. They spent huge in the transfer market, and where has that got them 5-10 years down the line? To the point of going under, almost at the very foot of the footballing pyramid. Yeah, it's not always wise to go out spending gung ho.
This is very true. Graham saying, "Wow, we have some common ground at last." Interesting take on that one, Graham. Okay,
we have common ground 26.7% of the time, Graham.
Wow, 27.7%. Okay, so the last game to talk about is the game at the same time as the Liverpool game, West Ham versus Leeds United.
Are you laughing at West Ham?
Yes, I'm laughing at West Ham. Leeds put on a beautiful game here. West Ham, obviously, they do their thing. But, man, Leeds just put on a very good performance out here today.
Specifically, Jack Harrison. He was
yes.
He was unplayable. Where has this Jack Harrison been all his career? But I don't get the laughing at West Ham. I think West Ham are one of those teams that a lot of people look out for just because they're David Moyes more than anything.
Because they actually play rugby and not football.
Oh, you mean. You hold very, very specific grudges.
Tanner, we really, we as Liverpool fans really can't throw stones in glass houses when we can't score against 10 men in a cup match.
I don't see what that has to do with West Ham
Whereas-
being the most
and whereas
physical
West-
team in the Premier League.
Whereas this team, West Ham United, were the first team to beat us this year.
And that's why he's angry.
Yeah, so up
So
it.
I say don't throw so much shade. West Ham
Yeah.
get the job done.
So as someone who hasn't got a ridiculous axe to grind against West Ham, I actually like watching West Ham play. They're very kind of reminiscent of an old school football team for me. Bowen, like I said earlier in the show, has been putting in some stellar performances. But when you see a player stand up and be counted like Jack Harrison, you can't not applaud. He was sublime in this game. Leeds needed the points way more than West Ham did. I mean, West Ham would have liked to have got the victory to put a bit of a gap between them and Arsenal for that race for the fourth spot. But other than that, this was very end-to-end, very, very entertaining. No team really kind of able to take the game by the scruff of the neck. And even stats-wise, it was pretty much down the middle. Almost 50% of the ball each. Similar numbers of shots, similar number of shots on target. So very end-to-end game. It's just Jack Harrison was the difference maker, and a win that Bielsa desperately needed.
Oh yeah.
Indeed.
And you gotta love the way that Bielsa can set up his teams to where they will play on to the hilt of the knife, to try and get the results that's needed, and that's exactly what it was here. My laughing at West Ham United's misery here is not just based on me having some weird thing about them beating Liverpool earlier in the season, but really and truly, this was a game that was just so close between West Ham and Leeds. It could have gone either way.
Either way.
Either way. And yeah, it's just very entertaining stuff. If I was given a preference between these two clubs specifically, I would want Leeds to get the victory over West Ham here. I believe in northern football, and that's exactly what came out on top today.
Historically, we said that football matches are fights, but this was a fantastic advert for the Premier League.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Great football. I mean, especially from Leeds. Their flowing football in this game was glorious to watch. So yeah, what Tanner said was hit the nail absolutely on the head. This was a flowing game. Nobody really kind of took the impetus, but Leeds were able to come out on top and absolutely deserved it.
Indeed, and don't forget that these two teams played each other last week in the FA Cup, and it was a 2-1 win for them.
Yeah, so what a difference can be made in the space of a week.
Indeed. This was very enjoyable indeed. We're trying to sort of going a little bit. It's sort of like it's here and it's going.
We could see the steam. So
thank you
coming from the cogs in your mind.
I appreciate those kind words. Joe Bowen again getting in amongst the action in this game for West Ham. Could have been 4. VAR ruled out a fourth goal for Leeds, of course.
What a shame.
So evil. But yeah, I don't know what else to say about this game, but we haven't already said because it was just fun to watch.
And the likes of Arsenal and Tottenham are going to be so glad that Leeds were able to pull this off because it means that they're now in the driving seat for those final Champions League spots.
Oh, Tottenham and Arsenal, those two teams that didn't play today, Mags.
Oh yeah, let's talk about these.
That is the perfect.
What a segue! It's almost like I'm professional at this shit.
Indeed. So, obviously, as we said on the Volley many weeks ago now, just before Christmas, We were saying about the FA coming together and saying that all fixtures must be fulfilled as long as you have 13 players, including one goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal invoked, to be fair, Burnley invoked the clause this week. But in fairness, Burnley have got a spate of COVID cases.
Don't tar us with that. Rush.
No. I'm saying Burnley had to because of the COVID cases.
I will die on this hill that Burnley have got one of the smallest squads in the Premier League. We have got one of the weakest youth setups, but yet we have only applied for a postponement one time.
Indeed,
we have suffered because of other teams applying for postponements. Arsenal and Tottenham, Man United all have huge squads with under 21s and under 18s that would far outperform the likes of Burnley's full squad, and yet we're still, woe is me, we need to postpone this match. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It was an abuse of the ruling from my point of view, and I can see why a lot of managers are getting frustrated about it. A lot of players are getting frustrated about it. I think we need some definitive clarification on what constitutes a match being able to be postponed.
Yeah, because let's not forget that in Africa Cup of Nations, because that's part of the reason why Arsenal was so short-handed. They've got like 5 players who have gone to Africa Cup of Nations. In the AFCON, if you have to have 11 players, and of those 11 players, you do not need to have a goalkeeper fit.
Interesting.
11 players.
These are the kind of regulations I'm here for. Yeah.
I mean, like
rushbacks. We call that rule rushbacks.
Rush goalie. Yes. I used to love all that sort of stuff growing up. But that's the thing. You see, they've got a fantastic youth setup. After we know this, they brag about it. Use it.
And yet they don't have the balls to play Spurs on Sunday. What the state of the club, the attitude, the gumption of a club like Arsenal to delay a game or to request a delayed game, not even 24 hours after playing Liverpool, in a cup fixture. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. What are Arsenal getting at here? They have the players. They have everybody that they need to field a squad. There's no reason that this game should not have happened today.
And they've had the form as well. I mean, outside the last result, they'd won 4 in a row. So they're on a strong footing. So it made no sense to kind of interrupt that momentum. Especially like we've said, they've got a talent-rich squad. They could easily lose 11 players to COVID or to the AFCON and still be able to field a team that would be 75% of the Premier League. So it's ridiculous.
I mean, I'm going to say this here. Arsenal did have Xhaka suspended after getting his straight red card.
They were always getting him suspended in that game.
But they also got injuries sustained to Emil Smith-Rowe, Cedric Suarez, and Saka in the game. Now they are 3 big players for Arsenal who are out injured. Hopefully not too badly, because in general I don't like seeing players get injured because I'm not into that sort of stuff. If you do, that's fine. But Spurs had players ruled out. They had Dyer out, Son out, Sergio Reguilon out, and also more COVID cases in their squad. But they didn't ask for a postponement. And I'm aware that people may come back at me later saying, but Liverpool had false positives. A false positive is still a positive as far as things are concerned.
I mean, you're what you're pointing out here is you've pointed out some really marquee names between both Arsenal and Spurs. I would not be surprised if the corrupt powers that be in the internal English football system perhaps thought, we could probably postpone the game until maybe some of these bigger names are back to draw in more cash, more revenue. So yes, we'll take up Arsenal on their request, no matter how silly or nonsensical their request is, and that Arsenal could clearly field a team underneath the regulations that currently exist. I'm certain that somebody took a look and said, we can wait. We can wait till the big stars are back so we can drive a bigger number.
I would hope that you're wrong, but at the same time, I've got that feeling that you may not be a million miles away from the truth on that one, Tanner. Which is unfortunate that is the case. Before we round things up, just dropping back into the chat, Charles gone on a little thing about money not guaranteeing success, saying, look at Man United. They spent around players whose value add up to 801 million last 5 years, last 10 years, sorry. And then Shah says City spent on players whose values add up to 800 million. That's 1 million less than Man United. And they've had a success. Man United have not. So I would say 1 million less is not exactly saying that you haven't spent your way to success.
No, but if to add to that point, if you take those 800 million pound worth of players that Man United have spent on, are they still worth that 800 million now? Absolutely not.
No.
Those City players, are they worth more than that 800 million?
Some of them, yes.
Absolutely are. So it's
weird thing is,
it's not about the amount you spend, it's about the value you get out of that amount.
Value add to them.
And City bought those players with purpose. They didn't necessarily buy them frivolously, whereas I think United bought the players that they've bought primarily based on the ability to make a commercial profit from shirt sales and sponsorships and
exactly
all the other niceties that you can get out of buying an expensive player,
like the Ronaldo shirts, the Pogba shirts, the Victor Lindelof,
Sancho,
the Lindelof shirts. Yes, I'm
sure.
saying it one for side benefit.
Big player for the Scandinavian countries, Mr.
Victor
Lindelof.
Yeah. So, Tanner, you haven't been on the Volley for a while, but me and Mags always round up with our player of the week. So I'm going to ask you both for your player of the week. Okay. So who wants to go first?
Take the wheel, sir. You take the wheel.
Me?
Yeah.
Man, it's goodness. It's hard not to. It's hard to look past Phil Coutinho. His instant impact and how him going onto the pitch turned that game around for Aston Villa against an arguably better Manchester United team, or a team that had played Villa off the park nearly to that point. Phil Coutinho joining in and really kind of changing the game here for Aston Villa, I thought was very impressive. So I think it would be hard to look past Phil Coutinho and his return to the Premier League here.
Okay, Max?
Yeah, I think Coutinho's a great pick. My issue is that he's only played 26 minutes of football, and I think for me, the star of the week has been Jared Bowen. 2 goals earlier on in the week and a goal today. Yes, he wasn't on the right end of the result, but still put in 2 really good performances, and surely he's got has put himself in the window for an international call up. So yeah, for me, it's got to be Jared Bowen.
Jared Bowen had a very good week. Before we get to my one, Graham in the chat said, I can't help because we managed for Matt to have to drink from a very cold drink.
You're mumbling, Matt. You're mumbling. Here, let's reread this here. Can't help think it should be mandatory for Matt to have a drink from a very cold drink during all video podcasts going forward to increase the chances of an on-air brain freezes.
No. Right. No is the answer to that one, Graham. I'm not doing that. No. Both great picks. Philip, as Mag said, though, Philip Coutinho only had 27 minutes. Not enough to give him player of the week, in my opinion. Jared Bowen had a great week. But for me, it's someone who shone today. I've gone for Jack Harrison.
I thought you were going to go for Oxlade-Chamberlain then.
I do love me Ox, you know that. But no, Jack Harrison had a very, very good day. He's had a good season. He was in my team of the year last year. I could see him just keep going up and up toward the end of the season. If he keeps playing like today, Leeds will be fine.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hannah disagrees clearly, but that is fine. Of course.
Sure. No, I mean Leeds. I would rather Leeds be safe than Newcastle.
I saw that, Graham. By the way, I saw that message. By the way, we don't have ice in our house because Chris doesn't drink ice.
Well, nobody really drinks ass.
He hates his ice in his drinks. I'm tired. Shut up. Right. Okay. On that note, how about we wrap things up before I end up rambling too far? Let's start with.
I mean, you're an hour and 45 minutes too late for that, sir.
I love you too, Mags, and that sort of things. Tanner, where can people get in touch with you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at TexasGentleman_, or you can simply just follow all the great content over here, just right over here, to my right here on the screen at Radio Tekkers, RADIOTEKKERS.
I mean, it also says it on your left as well, so
it's also on my left.
Brilliant. How we have missed you, sir. How we have missed you.
We have missed you. Indeed.
I've missed this as well, guys. Thank you.
And Max?
You can follow me on the Twitter down here. I have Matt to this side and Adore to this side, so don't follow them. But yeah, follow me on Twitter at PodfatherMags, where I am heavily involved in pretty much everything on Radio Tekkers. But also I have my sweaty fingers in many other pies over on the Chair Shot and on Visionaries Global Media. So come and follow me on Twitter and get links to all the content that I am a part of. But also like, share, subscribe this channel because we are looking to push Radio Tekkers onto the next level, and we need your support to do that. So definitely give us a like and a sub.
Absolutely. And don't forget to subscribe to the show directly here at the Volley Live on Twitter, and myself at MattAttackUK.
Why are you now sat at a jaunty angle?
I've just got massive cramp in my leg and I can't do it.
You look like you were pausing, like, paint me like one of your French girls.
I can't get this cramp. This is going to kill me. Actually going to kill me. I think they might be. Mag, can you do me a favour, Mag? Can you hit the outro for us? We'll be at.
No. We will sit and we'll watch you struggle. In fact,
if you tried standing up, I'm sure it'll fix itself.
We'll just do that as well.
We're out of here.